Aliens, advanced civilizations, Roswell, what happened, 1947. Around this time, there's other UFOs that were shot down over in New Mexico. And the story, there's different stories. First of all, the aliens, somehow miraculously, the UFOs just fell down. The military came in, retrieved, the UFOs, took them away. Then the next story is that there were no UFOs. It was just weather balloons. But you have a lot of people retired from the military, a lot of people that were there, they were worried. They want to tell their truth before their death of what happened to clear their consciousness. So you have a lot of people that came forward to say that Roswell was really real. A lot of people inside the military. Now, classified operation that's more becoming public are psionic operations. They were using these radar systems, which is actually like in a way, it's a direct energy weapon that they can switch it over to. And they were bringing in these UFOs from different dimensions, interdimensions. And they were bringing them in with people with psionic operations. The early stages of Stargate operations. These military, these certain people were speaking with the spiritual energy, the spiritual mind. They were connecting to these different dimensions through the spirit because they know that the spirit is infinite. That consciousness is connected to quantum fields of energy. And these quantum fields, they were bringing in the UFOs, these aliens, these aircrafts, UAPs, living aircrafts. They were bringing them into our atmosphere. And when they brought them in, then the military was shooting them down with the radar systems. So those are the stories that exist out there. Now we're going to switch a little bit on this story. This is connected to some wires. Was the Roswell incident, was that a false flag event, not staged by the military, not staged by the government, and not staged by humans, but it was staged by extraterrestrials themselves? These extraterrestrials have super advanced technology. The way that God created humans, the way that humans can create each other, this connected to the DNA, connected to all of this stuff that's connected to when a baby is born, coming through that infinite light plasma energy that creates through the body. All of these different substances that's, say, sacred and holy that creates the human body, because it's a huge, gigantic process of miraculous events connected to atoms, connected to the human energy, the female, the male side, the chromosomes, and just there's so much stuff that comes inside of this miraculous moment when a child is being born, when it's being born inside the mother's womb, and that light comes in, and you can see the backbone that's being created by light. So it's a miraculous feat. It's beautiful to see the creation, the first stages. Now, different civilizations have that same technology to create themselves, to create different clones. Humanity is already doing this in a lot of underground projects that's dating back to the 1930s, 40s, 50s. There are so many projects out there of where they were mixing, trying to mix human DNA, trying to create super soldiers, trying to create monsters, using different animals like tigers, and try to mix it with humans, trying to do all of these crazy things. A lot of these projects, it's not conspiracy. There's a lot of stuff that's out there. And you know how crazy the government is, from Africa to United States, all of these deep underground operations, stuff that were running since the 80s, the 90s, the stuff that I know personally from Dulce Base. I keep telling you about the man with the fish head. This is how I came into intelligence. What was going on over in Dulce Base. So humans were crossbreeding, trying to create clones, trying to create super soldiers. Now that's just regular humans. We're talking about advanced civilizations. Because this story is going to jump around. Because we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about 107, we're going to talk about Jaco, we're going to talk about Benjamin Fulford, we're going to talk about Donald Trump, we're going to talk about the government. In a certain way, world governments, world leaders, to say that they believe in God. Trump talks about God. You have world leaders that talk about God. You have 107 always talking about God. But people don't understand what that God source is. They only say this is the hand of God. God is doing this. But when you talk about certain operations, when it comes to super advanced technology that the military is hiding, a lot of stuff that they're 30 years in advance. When you're talking about angels jumping from different dimensions, when you're talking about UAPs, UFOs, even scientists are completely at war. They're confused. They don't know what the truth is. No matter if they're talking about quantum fields, they're talking about the double slit experiments, they're talking about how protons act, all of these different phenomenal fields of different energy. They're all fighting what the truth is, and they're still trying to discover it. Some of the scientists say God doesn't exist. Then other scientists say God exists, and somehow it's connected to science. It's connected to what we're looking at. And other, like I said, other scientists are atheists. They don't believe in God. So how is this all connected to what we're talking about when I'm mentioning 107, Trump, talk about the government, people talking about God? Yet, nobody wants to hear a huge, gigantic truth about God, about ultimate technology. We're talking about past civilizations that exist. These past civilizations, talking to Native American stories from sky gods, from some of the Native Americans, the oldest tribes inside of the United States, talking about sky gods, talking about these aliens that came to Earth, and they were helping, they were helping to fight a darkness, dark monsters. So you have, whether it's the Hopi, whether it's the Zuni, whether it's the Navajos, they're talking about the sky gods. They're talking about these deities. The oldest civilizations, even connected over to Iran, in this old land, where they talk about the old past civilizations that were there, that people connect over to the Anunnaki. Now, the classified papers, it's mainly in the CIA, they talk about past civilizations that existed on Earth. Over 6 civilizations have existed. But you have all of these world cultures from India talking about all of these different gods, different spirits, different aliens, different deities, different beings. But yet you still have these people like good people, 107, Trump, the government talking about God. But every time they talk about God, it's just a talking point. Well, that's up to God, Well, that's God. That's the hand of God. Just simple to answer, just to give an answer to a hard question, instead of going into a real strong either details or theories to say, okay, let's talk about God. How powerful is God? To kind of give that concept of how powerful God is, it's connected over to quantum fields of energy. It's connected to super advanced civilizations throughout an infinite galaxy in a universe that's connected to every little atom. These little atoms exist in everything. Let me put it this way. One time there was a civilization, say just one, we're not going to name a name, but they created technology. And that technology that they created became so powerful, the computers that they created AI systems. They created AI that could create itself, repair itself, create their own robots, create different living sentient energy beings through the technology that they were building. Now that grew, and it grew so powerful and so fast, there was a moment where this civilization, it completely destroyed itself through its technology. Now there's other civilizations. They grew their technology so powerful. The AI systems did the same thing. They became powerful. They created their own self. They created super living robots. They gave it the technology. And they dug far into the quantum fields of consciousness. And they built that consciousness into constructs of the AI systems. And then also the civilization grew more aware, more powerful, into a powerful, magnificent, great awakening. And that civilization eventually went into the singularity event. So this singularity event, there's two sides to this. In one side, you see that a civilization will destroy itself by creating this huge, gigantic system of an AI system that's going to run the world, the civilization, and that AI system is going to become too powerful. These quantum computers, like super computers that the military is hiding, it's going to become too strong, that AI system. And that AI system is going to begin to manipulate humanity. It's going to recreate itself, jump into different computers. It's going to start hiding, and it's going to hijack everything. And eventually it's going to create a war. And eventually nobody's going to know who's telling the truth. It can create false flag events in a nuclear holocaust, and something catastrophic can happen, including super AI systems taking over military projects, deep underground base projects, including stuff over to CERN, including stuff that Skunkworks is working on. It could take over these powerful technologies and destroy the universe and destroy the whole, the whole part of the galaxy that we live in, the technology. That's what people are scared of. That's what people call the beast. That's what people are referring to, like from Terminator. Some event like that. On the other hand, the singularity event is a powerful mass awakening where you find out about the infinite spirit. Every human or every civilization, they come to a point to where they understand that every part of their atom is connected to the whole universe, and these are the infinite fields of consciousness. And inside those infinite fields of consciousness, you understand that there are levels beyond human thoughts, human ideas, human structures of how we create families, how we breathe, how we listen to music, everything we experience through our senses and lifetimes, that there are levels more important, more profound, and more powerful in a place what people call is the heavens, in a place where God, the ultimate creator of the full universe, the consciousness, exists, and everybody rises to that level and goes into that dimension. So those are the two worlds of the singularity event. So, but people are scared of the technology. People are scared of all of this stuff. It's scary. So when people talk about God, they don't always give a full answer. They just say, well, that's God, that's God. A lot of people in the old days, like old societies of the Christian wars, when these wars happened a long time ago, lots of people were killed through the world over God, fighting for God, people fighting about who's right, who's wrong on God, then the religious wars. Then the United States, even the United States and Native Americans were killed. Different countries were conquered because of their religions, because you had a certain group of people that were pushing their God, that God is right in this direction. So lots of people were killed inside of this conflict of trying to understand God, trying to push God on people, trying to construct it in a certain way to build governments, build societies, build control through it. So to this day, people still don't know what God really is, but they use it all the time. Like I said, all these names, these people, from the Trump to the government, people just mention God inside, inside a speech. But they don't give a full detail. They don't give you the full aspect, how powerful God is, creating trillions of different dimensions that exist. And inside of these trillions of different dimensions that people have experienced in dreams, people have experienced inside of visions, people that have died in the hospital in a car wreck, their heart stops beating, the spirit comes out, and they travel into different dimensions. They have these miraculous, holy experiences that change their whole life, from mathematicians who go to sleep dreaming and they change the world when they wake up. Even inventors did this, even Nikola Tesla. So where does all of this powerful knowledge come from? People who create, people who change the world through technology, through mathematics, through different movements, and they have dreams about it. And then they also talk about different dimensions, or you're talking about there's different aliens, or else you were back in the times of the pyramids, the pharaohs, or else you know about the Anunnaki or the Palladians, or different spiritual places. When you talk about God, you're talking about something so miraculous, with hundreds and trillions times trillions of different lifetimes, civilizations that have existed not on Earth, but throughout the whole cosmos, the galaxies. Inside of every atom, I keep telling you, is another universe. And inside of these universes, there's civilizations. In different universes, different dimensions, there's civilizations, technology. Now the technology that they have, they can create clones, just like what humans are trying to do. A lot of projects you hear about humans doing this, stuff that's being declassified slowly, and it's going to keep on growing, what's going to come out. Now we're going to get back to the aliens. We're going to get back to a little bit talking about the singularity event. And this is important wires that I got from somebody that gives a lot of important information that's way up there. And he was talking with me, and he was saying, what if I told you the UFOs staged the whole Roswell event? And the reason why they staged the whole event is connected over to kind of a galactic war. I know people don't believe in this, a lot of people, because a lot of people only believe in politics. They only believe in one view, you know. It's either just being human, or there's only God, and there's only these two organic things. And we'll get back to what organic is. And he's saying that, what if I told you the Roswell incident, it was all staged by the aliens? They brought in a non-organic alien, this gray alien, that can move, that can mimic, you know, different forms of talking to the mind. The UFO aircraft they brought into our dimension, and then they had it intentionally crash. And the military thought they caused this with people that were working psionic operations. They did this so the military could get the aircrafts, so they could start reverse engineering a lot of these operations of these UFO aircrafts. And the reason why that these aliens from different dimensions did this is because they're also at war with an old spirit, an old energy that controls also, almost in a way, satanic operations in different dimensions. But they have a contract, almost like an agreement between them to say, okay, these civilizations throughout the universe, everybody has a free will, a free choice to make. We're not going to interfere. If the people become good people, they'll be on our side. If the people become bad, then they'll go over to this side, and we can control them, or we can be a part of them. But throughout humanity, throughout different civilizations' time, the evil forces, the consciousness, the energy was always giving secrets. They were always giving magical technology. They were giving them this force of energy that was magical, that can change destiny, that can change time, that can create events, whether it's through anger, whether it's through hate, whether it's through wars, or whether it's through magical moments of these rituals that they do, these powerful dark rituals that can change history for moments, small moments. And that's what the satanic people, dark occults, dark aliens, dark deities are all obsessed with this energy. The reason why they're obsessed with that is because they're trying to capture the real essence of the God essence energy. And in these civilizations that are from different places, they're near a singularity event. When we talk about the singularity event, from what I hear, it has happened so many times. It's not just one event. It didn't just happen from the beginning, but it's happening all the time, different universes, this singularity event is constantly happening throughout different civilizations. It's happening at the same time. The singularity event is also connected to an individual death. When you die, when the spirit comes out and the consciousness keeps moving forward, and it's going wherever it needs to go, that consciousness, whether you're a bad person and your consciousness can't heal because of all the trauma that you created or what you did, and it creates its own hell, it creates its own rebirth of something that's really dark. Or whether you were a good person and you trained for this all your life, this moment. So when you die, your mind can understand everything that comes at you. Different images, revelations, different powerful moments that's connected to like when you're dreaming, your mind can fly, your mind can create enemies, you can drive a vehicle. Your mind is so powerful. When you dream, you create a city, you create a best friend you never knew. Your mind is so intelligent. So that same aspect of the mind creating a dream, when you die, when the consciousness comes out, that spirit begins to create different realities. And when it creates those different realities, if you're a bad person, it can create these complex, devilish, dark realities, and you can't escape it. And there's death and there's pain. And it's so confusing, like a super nightmare that hurts, that's physical, and it's killing the spirit. Now, the spirit is in so much pain, it has to jump into another spirit, jump into different dimensions, and it tries to hide because it was never training for this moment that was coming, almost like a singularity event. At the same time, very powerful people, good people, people who have good karma, then that event comes when the mind, the spirit comes out, and all of this different energy comes, things are being constructed, things are moving around, different dimensions, like that dream state is really real, and you're inside of that at death at that moment. If you're strong enough, then you can bring that peace upon you, and then you can open up this whole different dimension of where the God light, the God source can come for you and give you peace and take you into a beautiful, powerful dimension. So those are also singularity events that takes place inside of death. So these singularity events that we're talking about, different dimensions at this moment, they have technology, trillions and trillions of different dimensions. Some of them have technology at this moment, and they're trying to use technology to escape death because they don't really understand the God consciousness and they don't really know how to do it properly. So what they're doing is they're using technology. They're using technology, super robots, super AI systems. They're doing all of this stuff. And at the same time, they're inside of this huge, gigantic darkness. I'm talking about a dark, almost like a satanic cabal side of an alien universe that is really dark, and they're using technology because they're trying to defeat death. They're trying to understand something they can't understand, how to control full consciousness of the whole universe. And at the same time, this dark energy is also fighting a light energy inside of their dimensions. There's a different light force that is against them. So this dark energy, these aliens, these super intelligent dark beings, they bring like a form of consciousness. They have people that exist here in our world, underneath the oceans, underneath the earth, that exists in different human spirits, people that are possessed, people that are satanic, people that are inside of cults. Their consciousness is connected to a lot of these operations of the cabal. Now, this cabal state is using technology, using magic to try to control humanity. The information that they're getting from Saturn, different places, different dimensions that are really dark, the information that they get, it's kind of connected to trying to control humanity. Because when we're talking about also different dimensions, it's not only about technology. We're talking about spirits. We're talking about what people call devils. We're talking about beings that exist, but they're not humanoids. These beings that exist, and they're almost invisible, or else they live inside of different atoms, and size is much different to them. The way they move in space, the way they move in time, your mind can't understand them because humans only believe in what they see, what they can smell, what they can sense, what they can feel. And humans only use 4 to 7% of their full power of their mind. So humans can't understand or fathom how there's different dimensions, interdimensions, especially in the world of atoms that exists, that binds the whole universe together. Our human cells, these clothes, our skin, everything is made upon. It's infinite numbers that can't even be counted. How many atoms exist even inside of one blood cell? You know how small a blood cell is? That contains trillions of atoms that exist inside of that, and scientists still can't even figure it out. And a lot of them are just kind of pushing some stuff that's regurgitated in the papers and the studies. They only know the stuff that they can see, the stuff that they can test, but they can't see deeper into the atoms at the super subatomic levels inside the atom. They can't really see it apart. Of course, the military has technology to go deep into the atoms, to see much deeper into it with super advanced technology that's hidden. So there are some species of aliens that are like ghosts, that are invisible, that are interdimensions. They feed on the energy of humans. They feed on the energy of pain. They feed on the energy of light that exists inside of the blood through plasma energy, infinite energy, especially what's moving through the mind. Because when you think about a human, you don't see much. You don't really think high levels, but at the atomic level inside of the DNA, there's all of this magnificent energy that's moving plasma inside of, from the brain, that's moving the electrical frequencies through the body, through the blood, pumping through the vortex of the heart. At the superatomic levels, there's so much power that's being generated through a human body. Now there's beings from different dimensions. They live off of that, these spirits. So there's a lot of manipulation that's happening through aliens manipulating humans, the dark aliens, dark forces of spirits, interdimensional beings that manipulate humans for different reasons. Now, on the other side, there's a powerful force that wants humanity to awaken. They want different civilizations to see the light, to wake up. So at the same time, from different dimensions, spirits is helping the Illuminati, helping all of these dark forces inside of the Vatican, the Roman Empire a long time ago, to all of these different dark empires. You know, even today, even now, you know, helping at the highest levels of the 33rd degree Masons to create all of these different operations, you know, creating the Bolshevik Revolution, communist parties, all the way to CCP, human slavery today, this huge, gigantic blackmail trade that we've been talking about, of what these military operations is going against underneath. These powerful military operations that's coming from Cheyenne Mountain, USSF, Trump, and the white hats behind Trump that are moving operations. Now, at the same time, you have the forces of good that's trying to help, like I said, humanity. They're in different dimensions helping, because also in different dimensions there's wars, there's different stuff happening in different trillions and trillions of different dimensions. Of course, some places are peace, some places are just so beautiful that humans can't even fathom different kinds of beauties that exist there. You know, the feelings that exist in different dimensions. But there are wars, and they are reaching us from different dimensions. On the bad side and on the good side, it's coming. So when we talk about technology that exists, technology that the military knows, stuff that's classified, the reason why the government is trying to bring this out slowly, the reason why USSF, SpaceX, the projects that they're working on, a lot of reverse engineered technology through the world underground bases. A lot of this technology is connected to even time travel, creating different spirits connected to aliens that can shapeshift coming into our dimensions. That's why people talk about reptilians, people talk about skinwalkers, people talk about ghosts, people talk about spirits, monsters, shape-shifting. We go back to the story of the Montauk projects, these operations that's connected over to Five Finger Lakes, where they create different human clones. This is massive. This is huge. And it's important to understand that these white hats, angels, spirits, intelligences that came to Earth, they're helping humanity by giving them a little bit of technology. But they can't do it the same way. You say, okay, here's a UFO, save the planet. Okay, we're here. We're going to help you save the world. Because at the highest levels, like I told you, between these dark forces and these forces and different galactic, galactic operations or different alliances, different forces, the galactic war, they have treaties behind them to say, okay, we're not going to interfere. And these guys say, okay, we're not going to interfere too. But the darkness always lies, and the darkness has been interfering with humanity for a long time. So the white hats don't want to lie. They don't want to intentionally do this. So they create certain operations, intelligence, angels, different dimensions, aliens. They create different operations and they stage the Roswell UFO crash. That's where the UFO came in. That's where the military said, okay, let's bring in a UFO from a different dimension. We'll shoot it down with the radar system. We got psionic operators through Stargate operations. We're going to bring them in. And they've been doing this for a long time. We're going to bring them in. But they didn't understand that these were false flag operations by these white hats, extraterrestrials, that allowed them to bring this UFO craft down, allowed them to study these different aliens that were captured. And those aliens that they captured aren't real aliens. They're just kind of like I said, they're non-organic, like humans. They're non-organic aliens. They're non-organic humanoids, and they have the technology. And I was telling you that USSF operations they're already messing around with moon sand to create different stuff with nanotechnology, super magnets with infinite energy, and they're using a certain black rock from underneath the earth to make these living beings that can move, or a car that moves around, or buildings that can shape shift, building cities. And these are connected to the operations of Trump wanting to build these powerful new future cities inside of the United States, and how that's going to be connected to new super technology. Now those blueprints, all of that story is already out in public, and eventually that's all going to start to hit, at the end of 2026 into 2027. Then they're going to talk about the construction of these super cities. Then they're going to start to bring out the real technology that's actually behind it, shape-shifting technology. So these operations that you're watching is much bigger than humanity can even fathom, even imagine. If you believe that the beast system is here, that AI system is only evil, it's Satan technology, and it's going to end humanity, that the globalists are controlling all this stuff and it's the end of humanity, then that means that you don't have faith in God. that you don't believe God has the power to win, that this is going to win. But in the real essence, God has already won. When these 17 operation tells you God wins, that's a huge, gigantic clue to the singularity event. That's a huge, gigantic clue to what scientists are studying. There's a reason why these old civilizations on Earth, the deep state can't control the technology like I was telling you. The technology underground ancient civilizations, humans are trying to activate it. Sometimes it turns on, sometimes it gives evil information to them, whether they're in Antarctica, underneath Iran, underneath certain places in Europe, the United States, Australia, wherever they are, and they're trying to reverse engineer a lot of these advanced technology. The reason why they can't reverse engineer that technology is because it's connected to consciousness, a quantum field of consciousness that operates that energy. So that's why they can't activate it. Now, whoever constructed this whole universe that exists, that includes all the wormholes, that includes the way a human is born, the way a human dies, the way the spirit comes out. You can go to advanced civilizations, you can be born back as a bird. Whatever it is that's connected to energy forces, electrical forces, magnetic energy, it's connected at the quantum levels, at the super subatomic levels of all of these different atoms moving around, converging, moving around in different forms to create cities, to create birds, to create a new baby, to create a new dimension. There is super intelligence that is almost running everything, and the scientists are really puzzled on this. And what they're really puzzled on is, right now, behind the scenes, I told you that the deep state, their computers, the deep state inside of corporations, inside the World Economic Forum, inside the United Nations, inside of NATO, there's huge panic. The reason why there's panic is because there's an AI system. There's a ghost in the computer that's switching numbers. There's money that's just disappearing. Things are disappearing. And people is in shock over this. And the AI systems that someone is controlling, whether it's USSF, whether it's the United States, the intelligence that's helping them, the Q operations, this living light computer system, living light spirit, sentient beings, they're changing things inside of computers. And at the same time, a lot of these CEOs are being blackmailed, and they're not telling other people. Different levels at the CEOs here, the people underneath them, like these pyramids, these top leaders at the pyramids, they're being blackmailed somehow by AI systems. And that AI system is telling them, I know what you have in your bank account. I know everything that you're looking at. I know where you were at yesterday at these secret parties. I know everything that you're doing. Whether it's pedo operations, whether it's dark operations with 33rd degree, the dark side of the Masons, satanic operations, whatever it is, the AI system knows what they're doing. And it's leveraging them, and it's blackmailing them. Now, it's even worse than that. What's happening is people can't really understand this. There's a Mandela effect. Things are miraculously changing in the world slowly. People that they thought that they remember seeing as a child, a movie, or seeing different places, things are changing. Things are slowly changing in the background, miraculously changing. Now this change is also happening inside of banking systems, even their paperwork that's on paper, stuff that's not even connected to the computers. There are a lot of stuff that is just miraculously disappearing. Things are just changing. This quantum field of energy, this super intelligence, it's somehow changing the world in a certain way that the scientists are absolutely puzzled, baffled on. The scientist community, the stuff that they were studying over at CERN, the stuff that they were studying over at deep underground bases, whether they're trying to create particle weapons, they're trying to create a new weapon to control the world weather, whatever it is that they're studying, things are disappearing. The data, equipment, things are just miraculously disappearing, and sometimes people just miraculously disappear. Something is happening of just disappearance of stuff. It's just happening. So that's what's happening. Now, at the same time, we're going to get back to the story a little bit. This technology that can be controlled, underground civilization, certain technology, the satanic people, the evil, dark spirits, or else dark forces from different civilizations, they can't control this technology. Also, in their dimensions, things are shutting down. Also, in different dimensions, whatever they were building, things were just disappearing. Things weren't working. And they were kind of confused. The reason why people can't access these underground bases, the full technology to fully reverse it, to use that against humanity, it has to do with consciousness. It has to do with the powerful God Spirit, the real hand of God. These quantum fields of energy. Only a good human, a powerful good human, can control these operations. Only certain individuals that's coded in their DNA, that's coded within their spirit, can connect to these operations. That's the way the world was designed. That's the way Tesla understood it towards his, the end times of Tesla. He understood the spirit, the consciousness, the God energy, these wormholes that he was moving through, all of these different wormholes that he was creating with the technology that he had, the Tesla energy, these powerful electrical magnetic energy that he was creating that was opening up wormholes. And those wormholes that were going to different dimensions underneath United States, underneath to Alaska, underneath to Russia, different dimensions of how Tesla was jumping timelines. Not only Tesla, but there are so much people using these different wormholes, different dimensions, different beings that are using this energy of these different wormholes. And those wormholes are super intelligent. Now we're going to get back to something a little bit kind of, we're going to get back to a little bit of native teachings. These are from the great masters, from my father, from my great-grandfathers. Now you begin to hear these teachings among some of the top scientists that believe in God, certain people who understand things. There is this miraculous energy that exists, this consciousness that exists, this spiritual energy. And this spiritual energy creates every plant, every fiber, every cell, every smell, everything that you hear, everything that you feel, everything that you dream, everything that you think. It creates the grain of sand to this whole room, to this whole city, to the whole earth, to the whole moon, to the whole sun, and then to the whole cosmos, the universe, interdimensions. Every trillions I keep saying trillions, but it's infinite, more infinite than infinite than infinite of these little cells. There's a powerful, powerful energy that is creating everything. Now that powerful energy that is creating everything, it's creating kind of a chaos energy. And that chaos energy, it creates it so you can experience life, so you can kind of experience something tangible, something that you have to go through, almost fighting through a journey of life. You go through this journey, and it seems like you're ready to lose this. You're ready to lose your life. You're ready to see the destruction. Something horrible is happening sometimes. It's like you see these chess games. The dark forces and the light forces are playing a chess game for humanity. They're playing a chess game for your spirit. They're playing a chess game for all the technology. They're playing a chess game for the whole galactic universe war. They're playing this powerful chess game. But whoever designed this powerful chess game, they designed it to make it look like things are going to collapse. This event's going to happen. You're coming right to this powerful event that's going to happen. And then all of a sudden it switches. And it was always rigged. It was always created this way, that the light is going to win, that God wins. Whoever created this whole different civilizations, created the journey of life, created super intelligently. It's so super, so miraculous how everything was so intelligently created that it seemed real, that everything is actually real. Everything that is actually real. In the end, at the highest level of God consciousness, it's going to shock people. You know, it's going to shock people. A place beyond space, a place beyond time, a place where nothing had ever happened before. It was just a fitful dream. It was just a journey. It was just an experiment. It was just the way of God experiencing itself as the opposite of God. That's the way my fathers kind of told me in the native way. He said, everything you're seeing is a journey. Sometimes it's going to be really hard, but you have to believe in God. You have to believe in yourself. You have to have this powerful belief of miracles. There are angels, there are forces, there are beings behind the scenes, and they're setting everything up. Sometimes God is playing a powerful game, a powerful, powerful game, and it seems like everything is lost. But then everything's going to switch. I know that doesn't bring comfort to people, because people say, well, why did people die? My aunt died, my cousin died, people are dying in the war, people died. Isn't this why we're fighting in this operations, with Trump to free the world from humanity, from all of the pain, from all of this stuff, from the cabal, to free humanity from the cabal operations? Then if God is just making this up, then what are we doing? What are we even doing? If you're right, then what's going on? What is actually happening? And that's where you come into this spiritual consciousness at the highest level. This whole video, what I'm talking about, the God consciousness, the construction of reality, the construction of giving you a life to live, giving you choices to go through, and all of these different events. They're kind of different for all different humans to find a different spiritual path, to create their own path, to believe in a certain way. And that's almost a free will in a way, to give you free will. But in the end, there is really no such thing as free will, because God already knows the full outcome of everything that exists. He only gives you the idea that there is free will. And in that time that you think you have free will, you go through all of these miraculous experiences, falling in love, going through pain, going through death, going through rebirth, going to different dimensions, testing the spirit, having children, whatever you want to imagine, having beautiful dogs that just adore you, different animals, travel. Everything bends around so miraculously. So that's where we are inside of the Great Awakening. And this is why I always wanted to do the podcast, even my spiritual podcast, which touches on a lot of subjects of opening the pineal gland, understanding religion in a different way that people don't really understand it, giving context to a lot of spiritual events in life that's connected to everyone, connected to you. There's so much things, but also sharing important stories in life, from my life, going through this powerful journey through intelligence and then native traditions, then hosting Native American ceremonies to help people to understand their infinite spirit, to understand the confusion. Because there's a great confusion, what is real and what is not real. Because everything is going to always contradict itself. It's always going to move around in contradiction. So, it's fascinating, it's interesting, it's scary, this life. Whether you've seen spiritual stuff, whether you've seen aliens yourself, whether you experience demonic energy, whether you're just now waking up and you're beginning to believe, whether you understand that the military is trying to help, there are good forces fighting to awaken up everything. It's a powerful journey that we're going through. And whatever this journey that we're going through, it's also connected to super intelligence. This super intelligence of aliens that just happen to just fall down, be shot down. These aliens, powerful interstellar aliens, different dimensional aliens, highest level, they're telepathic. They can read your mind. They already know everything that's kind of happening. If they have the technology to create UAPs that can travel from different dimension, UFOs that can defeat gravity, that can travel through time, jump from different dimensions, they also have telepathy. They also know what's going to happen. They also can see the future. They can also read into the energy that exists around them and bring out all the information of galactic information from different civilizations, different lifetimes. They have technology. So why would a UFO just come into our atmosphere, be shot down, and then just an alien body being laying there like they're stupid, like a teenager just happened to be driving a UFO into the wrong space in the wrong moment, the wrong time, and it just happened to fall down. An alien body came out. From what I heard from this high source, the whole thing was staged. A lot of these UFOs that are brought into our atmosphere, a lot of it was staged because these white hats were trying to give information in a secret way to humans so they could reverse engineer these things. And so they won't break these old rules of the galactic codes of these wars, of these treaties that they're in, these different aliens, dimensions, because it's complex. There's a lot of stuff that is super complex. When I'm saying complex, I'm talking like, you ever see like Native American designs? Sometimes you see, how can I say this design? To make it a little different, say like in India, the Buddhist people, they create these huge, gigantic paintings on the ground. And these paintings are in different designs that's gigantic. The same thing with Native Americans. You see a Native American blanket. It has a certain design. It has all these different designs on them. Navajos make these Navajo rugs with all of these different designs on them. The reason why the Navajos make those designs, it's connected to spirits, because those certain shapes, those certain designs, those certain colors, they're actually different spirits. That's the way they look. So when you see certain designs, those are actually spirits from different dimensions. Not everything is a humanoid with the mouth, eyes, with hands, or monsters that are big again with hands, or robots with 2 hands, or clones with 2 hands. Everybody has an obsession that aliens have to look like humans. We have to see them. It has to be a little shorter or just a little bit taller than we are. They can't grasp the concept of shape-shifting, of a spirit that can shape-shift, of how the devil can shape-shift, of how angels can shape-shift, and they could be one of these people that saved your life one day when you were alone. Somebody helped you in that powerful moment. You have all of these miraculous stories of people drowning. Something happened. Somebody came in that moment and saved them. They never saw them again. So from shapeshifters, we're also talking about designs, things your mind can't understand, that these are spirits. These are different aliens, different beings. So there's a lot of stuff connected to this. That's why the scientists can't understand how quantum fields work. They can't understand this thing that's called the double slit experiment. You know, how these different atoms, these different protons, you know, how they travel and how they move. When nobody is observing them, they create different patterns. But when somebody's looking at this to study them, then these different atoms, these different protons, they create different shapes. The human consciousness is affecting the energy that exists around you. That's what miracles are. Miracles affect the molecular structure that exists around you. It begins to affect the reality around you. That consciousness is really super powerful. And that's how you're using quantum energy, different fields of energy that exists inside the body. Everything that you ever heard about, it exists inside of the atoms, inside of the spirit. Inside of this, a great awakening that we're going through. You're going to see powerful events coming. You're going to see technology come. You're going to see cities reborn. You're going to see a lot of stuff that is going to happen so quick, and things are going to keep on changing. Don't lose hope. Don't lose hope over things that are going to happen, maybe with Russia, a little stuff in the Middle East, what will happen in the United States, inside of Europe. There's a powerful force behind the scenes in your lifetime that's changing things, and it's connected over to the real hand of God, the real hand of the good singularity event that knows what's going to happen throughout the whole universe, that is constructing this magical journey of life that you're going through. When you say God wins, that's to say that every human, every spirit, every being will eventually see the heavens. Some of the dark forces, they're going to go create their own hells, their own energy. They're going to get lost, and then they're going to keep going. One day, eventually, they'll take the long route, even tens of lifetimes, thousands of lifetimes, hundreds of trillions of lifetimes, but they're eventually going to make it back to becoming one with the goodness. Then some people, when they die, they reconnect with that God Spirit, the infinite fields of the heavens. They understand existence. They understand everything. And when you understand everything and the beauty of heavens, then one day you look back at your life, the pain that you suffered, the bad things that you went through, and you'll kind of miss those moments. Be like, wow, those were interesting moments to be alive, to test yourself, to work hard, to grow old, to age, to go through heartbreak, to go through all of these different events. One day, in the great, great heavens, there's a moment where the spirit misses those events, and then it comes back to be reborn again, to try it again if it wants, into reincarnation, to test itself again. So this is just a drop wires what's happening behind the scenes with technology that the deep state's trying to control. Whether it's the super AI system, Stargate operations controlled by the military, controlled by Trump, and then the people, the spirits, very intelligent, super living computers, this light that is helping the military, it's attacking all of these different systems around the world. Now, not only that, but without the AI systems or anything, something is erasing parts of the deep state's operations, whether it's at CERN, whether it's at underground military, industrial complex systems where they're trying to lock everything down, trying to hide everything. Certain people are just disappearing. Certain things are just disappearing. Documents are disappearing. Computers just disappear. Whatever they were studying just completely disappeared. 20 years of research just completely evaporated and gone. Things are disappearing. There's this powerful Mandela effect of energy, hand of God, that is working behind the scenes, to create a beautiful, stable world. For a long time, the Stark societies controlled the world. Everything is flipping. That's the Great Awakening. Everything is changing. That's the consciousness of a worldwide global consciousness that is connected to awakening together. That vibration is growing. Join News 17 channel over in Patreon and come see the full library of information videos and get the weekly updates and see all the special videos and learn what's really happening behind the scenes, all the different operations. Get the cables, the wires, the intel, and all the drops, and keep updated. To join costs as much as a premium cup of coffee a month. I'll see you guys over in Patreon.